What's up, everybody? Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and today we are going to talk about a few really cool coins that are found in mint sets that you could just go ahead and pull right out of there and sell all by its own and make more money that way than you normally would just trying to sell the set as it is. As we all know, there are a bunch of mint sets out there. There are a bunch of specialty like coin and currency sets that people have bought over the years, and the U.S. Mint continues to crank these things out as long as there's a buyer for every single thing that they do offer. You better believe that they're going to continue on and producing more of this stuff. But a lot of the coins, most of the time, won't even recoup exactly how much you spent on these sets. But, you know, if we were to look back in the last 20 to 25 years, a lot of people bought during the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So I'm happy to say, if you were a buyer of a lot of these mint products, you know, there are a number of incredibly valuable coins. Now, we're just talking about three. This is not including a whole bunch of other different type of coins that can be found. There's a lot of $5 to $15 to $20 coins that aren't on this list. Man, we could do a video that'll go on all day covering that. In addition to all of the proof sets, which I might do a separate addendum video to this one right here, because the mint sets are the mint state BU, kind of like made for circulation strikes. $25 is kind of a tall order in this particular case. There's not a whole lot of coins that fits within that price range and higher, especially from a mint set. Proof set, there's quite a bit. But we found three coins, believe it or not, that that will certainly make you some money and then some. Now, 25 is kind of the minimum floor, but yeah, you'll be pleasantly surprised by how much a few of these coins do, in fact, sell for. Now, as with most of these type of videos, I like to throw in a little honorable mention. Maybe they've kind of fell out of favor over the years. People stopped looking for them. Or people kind of caught wind of a certain video I did maybe 3-4 years ago, and then now there's a whole bunch of them on the marketplace. And that coin is going to come from the good old 1976 uncirculated mint set. All right, as you guys know, these have Denver and Philadelphia coins. The Denvers are going to be in the red striped packages. The Philadelphias are in the blue striped packages. They'll have both sets of coins in one envelope. But as you can see, this is actually a very notable set because they house some popular coins, and that is the bicentennial era of coins. It was pretty unusual, a little bit unique for a coin to exhibit two dates on there. People just, for the longest time, got used to seeing just one date, but now all of a sudden, there was this one coin, two coins, three coins that commemorated a pretty significant event in in our history. And you have the 1776 to 1976 coins in here. The coins by themselves are quite collectible. The bicentennial quarter, sells for about $2.50 to $5 in mid-state condition right out of the pack. So if you did cut it out, you just keep it in the blister and just cut around it so that way it stays in there. The candy half dollar, probably the least favorite, with Independence Hall on the reverse. The drummer boy, of course, kind of makes this whole three coin set what it is today. The candy half dollar sells for a few dollars. People will buy them to put in a candy half dollar set. But the big one to look for is going to be that Eisenhower Dollar, the big old fat coin that you see right in the middle there. And here it is. Now, if you guys had forgotten about a certain video I did 3-4 years ago, there are actually two different reverse types for this coin in both Philadelphia and Denver. However, the most valuable of the two mint mark coins is the Philadelphia, even though you see the Denver type right here. So what exactly are we looking for variant-wise for this 1976 Ike dollar? And it's real simple. Here's kind of like a side-by-side comparison. The Type 1 is actually on the right side of the screen. The Type 2 is on the left side. The type 1, as you can see from the actual font style of those letters, is more of a block style. But if you looked at the type 2 on the left-hand side of the screen, it's thinner. You actually have defined serifs on there. That is the more common reverse type, is that type 2. The type 1 coins in really nice shape are actually worth money. You know, today they still sell for between $10 and $20. Used to be that these fetched, you know, right in our wheelhouse, $25 and up. But just because of overall awareness, these have dipped down in value because there's more supply out there. Now, where these things really begin to get very valuable is when they're graded. And they have to grade a minimum of Mint State 66 to be worth quite a bit of money. Those type of coins are being found and subsequently graded, and the people that are buying them are actually putting them into a registry set, whether it's NGC or PCGS, and they're paying many hundreds of dollars for those Mint State 66 examples. The 76 dated Eisenhower dollar, because of its size, had its quite fair share of issues. A lot of planchet nicks, a lot of scratches. These things were not exactly white gloved coming out of the striking chamber and into the hopper. They just weren't. They were clashing together. Lots of nicks, a lot of bag marks, as you can imagine. So finding one in 66 is a tall ask. But if you're able to find these out of mint sets and they are relatively clean, people will pay a premium because they know they could send these out and feel comfortable that they'll grade exactly where they need to be. The next coin, and I'll say number 3 coin, we're done with the honorable mention, but if you guys have seen this particular 1979 dollar souvenir set, all right, and I've owned probably about 50 of these sets, and I've had great luck finding a very specific variety out of here. But these sets right here, back in the day, you could buy for like $4 or $5. Nobody really wanted them. As recently as I would say 2007, 2008, when people really just didn't give a care. Right before the recession, you know, how timely that all worked out to be. But if you have some of these sets, you guys need to take a close look at the Philadelphia Susan B. Anthony. There's 3 Susan B. Anthony coins in this set, and the one you're going to look for is going to be what they call the wide rim design. All right, so we have a regular narrow rim, even though it's a Denver Mint mark on the left. The coin on the right is the 1979 Philadelphia wide rim, and they only show up on the P minted coins. They won't show up on the Denver. They won't show up on the San Francisco. But you can just see the amount of space between this rim area and to the actual digits in the date, whereas on the regular narrow rim type, this is the standard kind of more common type that you will see out in circulation today. Now, you don't necessarily have to look for these in the mint sets, but the one big hot button with finding them in the mint sets is they are going to be the highest graded examples that you could locate, all right, as opposed to trying to find these in rolls and things like that, where more than likely they're going to be circulated. Now, the circulated examples, I'm happy to say, still sell for about $5 to $10. But if you pulled one of these out from these souvenir sets, there you go. They're selling between $25 and $30. Here are a couple of the most recent sales of this particular coin in nice, decent mint state condition. But there you go. That's an incredibly popular kind of cherry pick out there, but I'm willing to bet that a lot of people still don't know that this one can be found in these 3 coin mint sets. The second coin that we're going to talk about is one that probably 95% of you have never even heard of, never even found, never even seen, but maybe perhaps during its heyday you did buy one of these Thomas Jefferson coin and currency sets. Now, this particular set came out in 1995. It was sold directly from the U.S. Mint, and because the internet wasn't really, doing the U.S. Mint a service then, in 1994, people just actually had to hear about it secondhand. They had to read about it. They got their circulars in the mail. about this coin and currency set. So it's pretty easy to see that not a lot of these were made, not a lot of them were sold, all right? But there are people that, the U.S. Mint homers of the world that, just like collecting Pokemon, you want one of everything. You got to catch them all. So there are people that have bought 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 sets of the Thomas J. CNC set. And believe it or not, this was kind of a breakthrough set. It's dated 1993. All right, so it was made available in 1993. The Thomas Jefferson commemorative coin that's included in the set was dated 1993. All right, but look, see what's right next to it? That's actually a Jefferson Nickel. And not only is it a Jefferson Nickel, that thing is dated 1994. They had sold the CNC set in advance with that 1994 Jefferson Nickel that it wasn't even 1994 yet. I remember when this thing came out. As a matter of fact, I have 2 sets of this type in my collection that I've had since I was a teenager. But as you can see, this has not only the Thomas Jefferson commemorative, which, by the way, is silver, all right, but it also has that Thomas Jefferson Nickel. I don't know why I said Thomas Jefferson Nickel, but it's got that 1994 Jefferson Nickel. What you guys probably did not know is that it also had a $2 bill, and they all were star notes. Yes, you heard that right. Star note $2 bills in this coin and currency set. As a matter of fact, this particular set and the next one I'm going to talk about, the number 1 for the list, are going to be sets that I would say you should completely dismantle and sell each piece on its own, because that's where you can make the most amount of money. Now, this particular set right here is going to be the big one out of the 2 in terms of breaking down all of its pieces and just selling them separately. The $2 bill is in crisp unk condition, so condition-wise, that one is a shoo-in for a great sale. That note by itself will command between $20 and $30 all by itself. But obviously, the big draw is going to be that errant 1994 nickel. Now, the reason why the U.S. Mint was able to produce this coin and add it to a set dated 1993 is they had ordered a special batch to be made. Okay, it's so special that they actually prepared the dies differently to where you have kind of like a matte-proof, very satiny finish to it. Take a look at the steps. Every single example of the 1994 P Special Strike from this set will exhibit some of the strongest reverse strikes that you will ever see. All right, some would even say that this is a specimen coin. Here's the big news. This was made in very low quantities. Only 167,703 1994 SMS coins were produced specifically for this coin and currency set. Now, the set you can buy currently online right now for about $40 on average. I've seen them for as low as $35. I've seen them go up to $50. But obviously, the big draw is going to be this nickel with such a low mintage. And the coin itself, if you were to buy it raw, commands $30 plus. These are a couple of some of the more recent sales. There's not a whole lot of them out there because people will either keep the set together and sell it that way, or they'll take the coins out and grade the Jefferson Nickel through NGC or PCGS or whatever preferred grading company folks go to for this sort of thing. But this is pretty interesting. This is a very valuable coin in itself, and it looks probably no different than any other Jefferson Nickel. So I would say this is not a coin that you can find in circulation. It's very hard to make that kind of determination whether or not it's indeed the SP Jefferson Nickel. Normally, you got to start out with the coin and currency set in order to obtain that coin. And the final one, this one's going to blow you away. I've talked about this set a long time ago, but we have a 1997, much like the previous Thomas Jefferson coin and currency set. This is the Botanic Garden coinage and currency set. As its name implies, it's probably pretty similar to the set that we saw before it, only 3 years newer. There you go. That's what's in it added. in this set. You have a $1 bill this time, so the $1 bill doesn't look like really anything special. I would say the serial number is fringy, interesting, but there's really no way to, there's no, I guess, term to really call this one a fancy serial number out there. It's not anything interesting that it has its own name. It's not even a bookend. That's how uninteresting it is. But it's also got the Botanic Gardens commemorative coin, which is silver, by the way, the Thomas Jefferson commem, and this one can be sold separately for $25-30 on its own. But take a look at what else is in there. Another Jefferson Nickel, this time in 1997. They actually made some during the same year in which these sets were sold and produced. Excuse me. I'm just so excited. I'm all choked up because if you looked at both coins, they're both incredibly beautiful. The nickel looks everything like the Jefferson Nickel 1994 that we saw previous, in that it is a satin strike. It looks almost like a matte-proof type coin. It is well crafted. It is well struck. It is gorgeous. All right. Here's the only thing. The Botanic Garden sells by $25 on its own. If you kept the set together, they are currently being traded, if you're lucky enough to get them, for between $100 and $125 per set, which seems like a lot. But the Jefferson Nickel that you see on this particular image is nothing like any other Jefferson Nickel you've ever seen. The mintage is only 25,000 pieces. Incredibly low mintage. It's even more low mintage than the dimes I talked about that came from the March of Dimes sets a few years ago. All right, this has a much lower mintage as a BU standalone type of coin for a set, unlike I've ever seen before. So with a mintage of only 25,000, that could probably mean that this coin is incredibly valuable on its own. And I'm happy to say it sure is. However, here's a close-up of the coin, by the way. This is actually a graded example. You probably see the little white prong marks on there and the scratches on the slab and not the coin in this case. This is a coin right here that has graded SP69, which is a nice grade, but it's not a 70. There are 70s of this coin that does exist in the census. But as you can tell, just an incredibly beautifully struck coin that is in that set. It's got full steps. Most of them do. It's almost like a proof coin, only it's like a kind of pseudo satin business strike type of product that we see here. Now, as far as value of the coin, there have been no recorded sales in quite some time of just a raw 1997 special set strike Jefferson Nickel. However, there's been one recorded sale of a graded example. It's a coin that you just saw in the previous example, just blown up. It's going to be this one right here. This is one that's sold July 28th, and that's it. End of the world. There's been no other examples, and this one is an SP69. And as you can see, this one sold for $124.38. I would venture to guess that a raw example would be somewhere in that $100 to $150. I haven't quite researched how much a perfect 70 of this coin would fetch on the secondary market, but I guarantee you it's going to be extremely expensive. Only 25,000 examples of this 1997 SP Jefferson Nickel were ever made. All right, and that makes this the undisputed kings of like to pull out of your set and sell on its own or grade it or whatever you want to do, because it is an incredibly rare example of a coin that is rather recent in U.S. Mint product history. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I wish you the best of luck. If you guys do have these sets, make sure you check out for them. I will do a complimentary proof video that's going to probably end up being like 40 minutes long. It's that delicious. It's that big. There's a lot to look for in proof sets that are worth $25 and up. It's insane in the membrane. Yeah, you can tell I'm a kid from the 80s and 90s because I just said that. That's going to go ahead and do it. Feel free to like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to hit that bell for instant notifications. And as always, we got the good old Facebook site up and running. It's BlueRidgeSilverhound, all one word, collectibles. Come join us there. We're going to do exclusive Facebook Live events on there as well, videos, all the great stuff. But that's going to go ahead and do it, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. Maybe you got some of these coins. If you do have some cash. Coinaholics, we are discovering together. I will see you guys next time. Take care.